So one of my loyal Patreon supporters asked me, Father Alex, what's the number one dating advice you could give me if the world was on the line? If the race of humanity was at stake, what would be your number one dating advice? And I thought about that, and I think I figured it out which one it is. And it's this: doing less than necessary, especially when you are attracted to them, especially when you have an unbelievable chemistry with them. And this is why. Usually we fumble the bag when we meet someone. Look, for example, like I remember dating this girl, like how long ago? It was actually one of the first girls I've ever dated outside of high school. And she was really into me. But my God, did she never give me space? She lived across the street. She was this from Uruguay. And every time I was around, she texted me. She wouldn't text me. She called me. We didn't have phones. I didn't have a phone at that time. I didn't have a working texting phone. I know. And she was literally all on me. And don't get me wrong, she was beautiful. She was like this, like Jesus Christ. She was like this, like fucking, like milk skin, Uruguayan girl with blue eyes. It's crazy. And I just never seen anyone that looked like her at that time, and her accent was just so gorgeous. But then the more I got to know her, the less space she gave me. And anytime I needed to do things on my own, she would cry, she would get mad. And anytime I wanted my own space, her reaction was to text me more, call me more. Her reaction was to do more. Like it was almost like mimicking me, right? The more space I wanted, the less she gave it. And then one time, she started going out with this girl. I did not know she was into women, ladies and gentlemen. I completely missed out. And then so then she started liking this chick, right? And I'm like, what's going on? And then she was starting being more busy. She started just being more busy, pretty much. And it was the reason why was because she was seeing her friend, right? And it wasn't like a serious thing at that time, but she was seeing someone. And then all of a sudden, when she started seeing somebody else, I started noticing that her text was shorter, our meetups were shorter, but my imagination was going wild. My imagination was imagining scenarios that were completely out of proportion, completely outside of reality. And I remember I started calling her more, and I remember noticing something about the way I saw her. Initially, I saw her. There was an emotional distance that made her look not familiar. Do you know the difference between when you meet someone and they're not your friends, and then they become your friend, and you notice that the way you see them, their faces have more round features, right? But when you don't know the person, if you actually pay attention, you notice that strangers, your brain creates an illusion where the face has more sharp edges, like there's more sharpness. But when you start to know them, it's almost like the emotions create a certain gravitational force that changes light and creates more soft and more round features. Almost like the features of a child, neoteny, where things look friendlier, right? So that's what started happening with her. Like I started to see her more familiar. And when I started imagining her in my mind, like I always tell you guys, my imagination had a lot of eye contact. Like I started noticing that it changed from me thinking of her and her looking in another direction. But now I started noticing that her eyes would look at me more. And the less she did, the more these images became more intense. Now, most likely it's because at that time I had a deep and intense case of, not bullshit, of, what's the attachment style that's distant. But nevertheless, I remember it working. And then she broke up with that girl, right? And then we started hanging out a little bit more. And I remember me being more romantic. And then all of a sudden, she started doing more. She went back to her creepy ways. And I remember I accepted her creepy like hyper attention type of thing, because I realized that there's another version of her I don't want to see. There's another version of her that I don't like. And that's the cold side. And that's what tends to happen when people break up with us, right? Don't you notice that once they stop feeling emotions for us, they completely change. They become a completely different person. It's almost like we don't know them anymore. And usually, to create this effect, I would have, if I would have given her advice at that time. Her name was Deborah. If I would have told her, I would have said, Deborah, this is what you should do. You should let me come to you more. You should let me set up the dates more. You should stop giving me so many gifts. You should, from time to time, cut our interactions short. From time to time, don't stay over like you usually try to stay over. But also what tends to happen is that her not doing much reveals to me, gives me enough space to feel what I actually feel for her. But when she was all up in my face, all up in my grill, not giving me any space, I never had the time to self-reflect. It's almost like taking time to yourself and disconnecting. I didn't disconnect to be able to really look inside and see how I feel, because during those moments when she wasn't here, it's almost like my mind got space to stretch and to feel all of the fiber of my muscles that I haven't felt before, because I didn't have room to stretch. So after she stopped doing it more, I actually felt the connection that was building underneath my consciousness. Meaning her suffocating nature also suffocated and suppressed what I felt, because it felt like it was being forced. I resented how much she was trying. When she stopped trying, I didn't feel like it was forced. Not like I felt it consciously, you know what I'm saying? It's not like she was like fucking, you know what I'm saying? But unconsciously, I didn't feel like I didn't feel that pressure anymore. And so it allowed my emotions to breathe, right? And then I actually realized I like her. It's almost like having BO and not giving yourself space to let the bad smell go out. You just close it and all the BO starts building up inside, right? The more space I have to feel, the harder, the less space she gives me. No, the more space she gave me, the more I felt, right? The more she suffocated me, the less I felt. So it's not that you don't suffocate people. Sometimes you do, right? But you have moments where you turn it on and turn it off. So it's almost like I felt a connection I never felt before, simply because she gave me a new dynamic and new behavior. And that behavior was letting my emotions breathe. And so this has happened many times where I don't feel the connection when she's all on me. But once she gives me space, I actually realize what I was feeling. Sometimes what you feel don't get to your head. Like you don't. A lot of times we don't have that mind-body connection. Sometimes you like the person and you just don't realize it. And sometimes you don't realize it because it's their fault. They don't give you enough space to realize you like them. And another thing is that when she started going out with that girl, all of a sudden now she wants to confront me on my bullshit. All of a sudden now she wants to confront me on the BS that I did. So the way that she decided to do more, she started doing more for validation, but less confrontation of my bullshit. Once she started dating somebody else and she felt more comfortable with losing me, then she felt more comfortable. Then she started doing more confrontation on my bullshit, which is valid, so it's not toxic, and less validating, seeking behavior, which is kind of funny how that works. Because then that beautiful, less validation, but more talking and having difficult conversations, almost like made me realize how much I really valued her, even though she was creepy sometimes. But also what tends to happen is that her not doing much reveals to me, gives me enough space to feel what I actually feel for her. But when she was all up in my face, all up in my grill, not giving me any space, I never had the time to self-reflect. It's almost like taking time to yourself and disconnecting. I didn't disconnect to be able to really look inside and see how I feel, because during those moments when she wasn't here, it's almost like my mind got space to stretch and to feel all of the fiber of all of the fiber of my muscles that I haven't felt before because I didn't have room to stretch. So after she stopped doing it more, I actually felt the connection that was building underneath my consciousness. Meaning her suffocating nature also suffocated and suppressed what I felt because it felt like it was being forced. I resented how much she was trying. When she stopped trying, I didn't feel like it was forced. Not like I felt it consciously, you know what I'm saying? It's not like she was like fucking, you know what I'm saying? But unconsciously, I didn't feel like I didn't feel that pressure anymore. And so it allowed my emotions to breathe, right? And then I actually realized I like her. It's almost like having BO and not giving yourself space to let the bad smell go out. You just close it and all the BO starts building up inside, right? The more space I have to feel, the harder, the less space she gives me. No, the more space she gave me, the more I felt, right? The more she suffocated me, the less I felt. So it's not that you don't suffocate people. Sometimes you do, right? But you have moments where you turn it on and turn it off. So it's almost like I felt a connection I never felt before, simply because she gave me a new dynamic and new behavior. And that behavior was letting my emotions breathe. And so this has happened many times where I don't feel the connection when she's all on me. But once she gives me space, I actually realize what I was feeling. Sometimes what you feel don't get to your head. Like you don't. A lot of times we don't have that mind-body connection. Sometimes you like the person and you just don't realize it. And sometimes you don't realize it because it's their fault. They don't give you enough space to realize you like them. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life, this is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces. One is 19 and one is 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99. And you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat. So most likely I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it. And you can pre-order that course. It's going to be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. I'm closing the channel. Right? Don't get so offended when I cannot hang out with you. Do less, react less, see me less, or at least have periods where you see me a lot and periods where you see me less. And the thing is this: what I am telling you is not just a fact. It's not just knowledge. What I am telling you really more or so comes down to just controlling your emotions. It really does come down to that. Because a lot of you guys watch my channel and you guys don't do the shit that I tell you guys. Right? I was talking to a client and she was like, Alexis, I'm dating a guy and I keep asking him out and he keeps saying no. How do I get him to like me? And I'm like, first of all, how long you been watching my channel? And then there was a big pause. And I was like, hello, are you still there? How long you been watching my channel? She was like, 5 years. And I'm like, look, girl, it's not that you don't know what to do. It's really not a lack of knowledge with you guys. It's a lack of control of your emotions. It truly is not that you don't know enough. It's not that you need to watch my course. It's not that you need to watch more of my videos. In fact, you don't have to do any of that. It's like in meditation. Whenever you're having a good meditation and you're at ease with the meditation, you start noticing that you move less, right? That's actually called meditating with determination. When I go to 10-day retreats, they make us do 3 hours a day of not moving. But whenever the meditation is getting difficult and your mind starts to crave, You start noticing that you start moving more, you start itching more, right? And so one of the elements, one of the signs that somebody has control over themselves is that they control their actions and they control their words. They know how to do less and say less when it's necessary. And they know how to say more and do more when it's necessary. That on and off switch is not determined by how things are going or how much control they want. It's determined based on the situation. Where a lot of people do more and act more, not because out of strategy, but because out of a compulsion, a reaction to things not going their way, a fear to confront failure, and deal with emotions that they can't control. But that you have to control your emotions. Because whenever you can't control something, whenever you're sensing that this person is not reacting the way you wanted them to react, your natural inclination is to do more. Think about it. When you're very emotional, what tends to happen? Your mind goes crazy. You start thinking a lot. And it creates tension in your body where you start to fidget. Fidgeting not just in the big muscles, but fidgeting in the little muscles, which is what matters. And those little muscles are the little muscles in your face, the little muscles in your fingers. They become more fidgety. The big muscles don't become that fidgety. But these little muscles have more of an emotional component. It's more connected to your emotions, the little muscles. Little muscles in your face, little muscles in your hand. All of those have an emotional component that usually become hyperactive when you are emotionally aroused, needy, or whatever, surprised, right? And with that it has a cascading effect, like a big bang. It gets bigger and bigger, where not only you can't control your little faces, the little emotions, the little creepy reactions, but you also cannot control the big reactions, texting, calling, seeing them, gift giving, trying to get their validation. And these types of things causes you to rationalize creepy, needy behavior. For example, a few years ago, I wasn't dating this girl. I was trying to get this Russian girl that worked at this bar, and we texted. I called her, and one time, I don't think she was interested, but she was just bored. I think I called her, and she hung up. And I remember when she hung up, part of me felt like, oh fuck, she's losing interest. But then I said to myself, what if the signal fell? I'm like, let me call her again. I called. She was like, hello? And I was like, hey, how are you? Hang up. And I'm like, well, maybe something bad happened. I called again. But there was a whisper in my voice that said, I think she's doing it on purpose. But then there's a louder voice, which is my needy voice, which is my lower self, that says, I hope I'm wrong. And that hope, despite your higher self telling you not to do it, it's the hope. It's the desire to force a situation to happen that causes you to do more. Once you become at ease with yourself, which means this, right now I'm happy. Right now I'm happy. Like at this moment, I'm happy. I'm at peace. I meditated. The only miserable time I have during the day is when I'm meditating. I changed the miserable day for a miserable 30 minutes 3 times a day. So that for the rest of the day, I'm not miserable. And learning how to control my happiness on a day-to-day basis. When I meet someone that I like, a lot of us use other people as our way to regulate your emotions. So rather than leaning on them, you won't lean on them as much. You might do more, you might text more, but if you learn to lower your expectations, find happiness in the now, and just accept that if this person is not putting the obvious effort, if they're not calling back on time, if they're not making an effort to see you, if they're not making an effort to find a romantic place to see you, or trying to impress you, if you have a feeling that they don't like you, don't do more. Their natural inclination is to go in the other creepy direction and do more. What I am telling you, go against those instincts. When you feel like they don't like you, do less. When you feel like they like you, go ahead. And how do you know they like you? Because you can feel it. People, let me tell you something, man. The reason why I'm telling you this is because if you do nothing when you're sensing that the person doesn't like you, or that you're sensing that this person is hot and cold, stopping your action, stopping the operation, stopping their pursuit will force them to make a decision. They either make up for the lack of effort that you're doing or they leave. And what usually happens is that they leave because they were never really interested. They were just trying to see whether or not they could use you as a source of validation. They become a parasite in your life that they leech onto you and use you for validation. And you could sense it because you're getting mixed signals and your whole day you're thrown off kilter because of their inconsistency. I posted a story on Instagram where I said, if the person loves your story, if you met someone for romantic purposes and you asked them out and you're trying to make plans and they're ignoring you, but yet they're loving your photos, they're loving your statuses, they're loving your stories, block. This is why. This is not what people do when they like you. That's why. They're acting like they like you or implicitly saying that they like you by interacting with you, by giving you their contact under the premise of dating. Like you meet them on Tinder, you meet them online, you meet them through friends who says you guys will be nice together. If you guys met under those premises, and they're not making an effort to see you, which means if you, for example, with me as a guy, if you're a girl, all you got to do is just say yes. I'll make the effort to ask you out. I'll put in that effort. I'll go out of my way. All you have to do is respond on time and say yes. That's all you have to do. Some people just don't do that. Some people will trick you into believing that for some reason they forget to respond. I'm just a forgetful person. I'm sorry. So you know what tends to happen? Them being a forgetful person makes you then remind them. Makes you then be their freaking personal assistant and say, hey, motherfucker, you say you were going out. Don't forget. You don't have to do that type of shit. I swear to God, if you remind people to go out with you, that you have a date with them, not reminding them, but that they say they forget, they're bad texters, don't date them. That means you're going to have to make effort. For example, like I said, the girl the chick that canceled the date twice. I accepted the canceling because the way she apologized seemed sincere. And you know, when we all get those situations, right? I kind of get it, especially in Mexico. I get it. So then I told her, okay, I'll meet you, but make sure to be on time. She was 40 minutes late. And before she came, first of all, she was my type. That's the thing. Sometimes when they're your type, you tolerate a little bit, right? Anyways. And I told her, like I said, I was like, look, man, we may not go on this date, my love. She was like, what do you mean? I was like, look, you're 40 minutes late. You canceled twice and you're 40 minutes late? That's not good. She was like, well, I'm just about, and she's really, really, really apologizing. That's the part that gets you. She's really apologizing. I'm like, okay, I'll go out with you as long as you don't become a bad texter with me. I'll deal with that, okay? And she was like, sure. Long story short, she canceled the first date, the second date. We met that day, right? And we were supposed to be on Friday. And then on Saturday, she canceled. She was like, she didn't respond to that. And I sent her a text on Sunday. I was like, look, my love, if you see this message, I think we're done. It doesn't seem like you're that interested. And it ended there. But the lesson is simple. These types of people that do things that are code, but verbally tell you, don't believe what I just did. Even though I canceled twice, please, I like you. Let's go out. Don't try to explain why people do that. Your response to that should be to disengage. Completely disengage and leave. If they like you, they're going to run after you. And if they want you, you're going to set a price. If you want to get back with me, you're going to have to make it up. You're going to have to make it up. If you don't want to make it up, then I don't want to be with you. I just don't want to be with you. And in this case, well, you guys find whatever you guys want to do for them to make it up to you. Right? For example, I was seeing this girl. No. The person who told me about this, I gave this advice to somebody where his girl cheated on him with another guy, right? Not like an ex, but with a new guy, and she wanted him back. She was like, "Baby, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Please take me back, please take me back." And it was like, "You cheated on me," and I was like, "Look, rather than accept her and take her back and act like nothing happened, give her an ultimatum. Tell her find something that you want, and tell her to do that, or else don't come to me." And the reason why is this: if somebody cheats, you can set the price to the moon, and the bigger the price, the more valuable the more valuable you come across, right? It's the Christopher Columbus effect. Asking a lot, and by just asking a lot, by just laying your price to the moon, automatically increases your aura, increases your power, increases your respect. And he was like, "You're gonna have to lick my ass and be my sex slave for a month." She was like, "You fuck your own self. I ain't doing that shit." And she walked away. And I told him, "Look, that showed you. That showed you something. First of all, she didn't even try. She found that an insult. So she can cheat on you, and she can't do something to make it up." So then I asked my female friend, Daniela, and I was like, "What do you think about that?" And she just got dumped by her ex, and she cheated on him. And she was like, "I would have done that in a heartbeat, because I want him back. I would have done it in a heartbeat." What that tells me is that she just doesn't respect him. And naturally, what he told me, he said that was the hardest thing to do, to leave her. But I told him, stand back. Your inaction will show you how she feels. So then a few weeks later, she came back. And guess who's licking guess who has the sweet taste of ass? Her. And she's doing exactly like I said it. Now, I told him, "Look, bro, she might cheat on you eventually, so this might not work out." But it just shows you. Sometimes if they don't accept the offer, don't run back and lower the offer. That makes you look bad. Stay firm. If they want you, they'll come back humbled because they made a mistake. This is not a strategy you do to gaslight people or because you want a power trip, right? The whole taking them back after they fucked up and laying a price down, or else you don't take them back, is proven. It works, especially when they really fuck up. But generally speaking, with people, learn to adopt the notion that if somebody likes you, the less you do, the more they do to make up for the difference. Someone's like, if you stop feeding your kid, then the other parent is gonna have to make up for the fact that you're not feeding the kid so that the kid don't die, right? So it's the same thing with this. You're not doing effort, but the person doesn't want the relationship to die. So they start putting more effort so that the relationship doesn't die. They'll complain to you, "Hey, what the fuck? Like I'm doing all of this. Why don't you do more?" But that is just there to help you understand the soul of this. Doing less reveals how much they like you. So this is a message for people who just don't leave people alone. For people who just do too much. I'm asking you, do less, and you'll see the power in that. Okay? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to work with Father Alex one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.